Hello, everybody. I would I would like to share my favorite story with you. It's called the Magic Stone. The tramp was about to give looking for a house and sleep by a tree for the night. Then he looked up and saw an old lady who was looking for firewood. He was pleased to see her, and they stopped to talk. Good day to you, said the tramp. What are you doing in here in the woods? I'm looking for wood for my fire, said the old woman. And what about you, my good man? What are you doing here? And where do you come from? And where are you going? I have been to see the world, said the tramp, but now I am tired and I'm looking for a house so that I can stop for the night. I've stopped and looked, but I haven't seen a house all afternoon. So that's why what you want, is it? Said the old woman. Then you'll have to keep on looking. I can't come home. You can't come home with me. And there are no other houses here. You better go off now. For night will come and you will sleep here in the woods. The tramp was not going to be put off, and look like a kind woman, he said, I know you will let me sleep in the woods. Please take me home with you for one night, and I'll be off again in the morning, and you will see no more of me. The tramp went on talking about this and that, and the old woman said, you can sleep in my house for one night, and I have no bad bed for you, but you'll have to sleep on a chair. The tramp thanked the old woman. Off they went, and they walked into the old man's house. The tramp talked about all sorts of things he had seen, and then he said how tired and hungry he was. So you're hungry too, are you? Said the old woman, but you mustn't think that I can give you a meal. I'm a poor old woman. I haven't eaten for all day, and there isn't a thing in the house. You will have to go hungry and keep on working. They came to the old woman's house, and the tramp looked in the garden and saw that the old woman was not poor and as hungry as she had said she was, and had turnips and onions in the garden, and a cow to give her milk. This old woman is not as hungry as I am. So said the tramp to himself, I think I know. I can make her give me a nice meal. The old woman and the tramp went into the house. So you haven't eaten all day, said the tramp. You must have been so hungry. Sit down and let me make you some soup. Soup, said the old woman. How can you make me some soup? There isn't a thing in the house. Remember, I have seen the world and I can do all sorts of kind of things. I know how to make soup from stone. Now, what do you think of that? Soup from a stone, said the old woman. That I must see. Will you let me look and see how to do it? It was kind of you to take me in for the night, so I'll let you see how to make stone soup, said the tramp. And the old woman pulled out a jar and looked as the tramp and put some water on the fire, and then went out to get a stone from the garden. He put the stone in the water and began to stir. The old woman looked on. What will the soup taste like? Asked the old woman. Stone soup is delicious, said the tramp. Of course, it tastes better than an onion or two, but as we have no onions, we'll have to make do without them. And he went on stirring the water with just the stone in it. The old one said, I think I've some onions in my garden. I will go and have a look. And off she went, and soon as she was back with two big onions, which she put in the water with the stone. The tramp stirred, and the old woman looked on. This is going to be a good soup, said the tramp. Of course it would taste better with a little beef in it, but there's no beef, so we'll have to make do without it. Oh, I think I have some beef, said the old woman, and off she went to have a look. And soon as she was back, she had some good red beef, which she put into the soup with the onions and the stone. The tramp went on stirring the soup, and the old woman looked up. This soup is going to be delicious, said the tramp. Of course it would taste better with some turnips in it, but we don't have any turnips. We will have to make do without them. What a good thing there are some turnips in my garden, said the old woman, and off she went to get them. She pulled up the two big turnips, and then she put them in the soup with the beef and the onions and the stone, and the soup looked delicious, and the tramp went on stirring and stirring, and the old woman looked on. By now the old woman was getting hungry. And the soup looks delicious, said the tramp. Yes, said the tramp, of course it would be better with a little barley, but as we have no barley, we'll have to do without it. And I think we have some barley, said the old woman. Off she went, and soon she was back with some barley, put in the soup with the turnips, the beef, the onion, and the stone. The tramp went on stirring the soup, and the old woman looked on. Then the tramp said it would be good if you had a little milk to put in our soup, but of course we don't have any milk, so we'll have to do without it. I know what I can do, said I have a cow out there. I will milk her, and then we will have milk for our soup. The old woman went out to milk the cow, and soon she was back with some milk, which she put into the soup with the barley, the turnips, the beef, and the onions, and the stone. And now the soup looked delicious, and the tramp went on stirring, and the woman looked on. The tramp tasted the soup. It is good. Is it good? Asked the old woman. Oh, yes, said the tramp. All it needs now is some salt and a little bitty fit for kings. And then I will put some salt in it, said the old woman, and off she went to get some. So she was back with some salt, and she put the soup in the barley, the milk, the turnip, the beef, the onions, and the stone, and the tramp went on stirring. Can we eat the soup now? Asked the old woman. Yes, said the tramp. Let me take out the stone, and then we can sit down and eat the soup. That is fit for a king. But a king would have other things to eat with the soup, said the old woman. She would put kind of delicious things on the table. Now there's a meal fit for a king. Oh, lots of lovely things on the table. Look at that. The tramp said to the old woman, now sit down and see what you think of this delicious soup. The old woman tasted the soup. Oh, yes, it's delicious, she said. And I think you've made it to think that you've made it from a stone. The tramp said it was kind of her to take me in for the night, and I'm going to give you the stone that made this delicious soup. You'll never have to go hungry again. The old woman was pleased, and thank you, she said. You're the kindest person I know. Soon the old woman and the tramp had eaten the delicious things, and they talked and talked, and then the old woman said, I can't let the kind man like you sleep on the chair. You must sleep in my bed, and I will sleep on the chair. So the tramp went to sleep in the old woman's bed, and the old woman slept on the chair. The next day the tramp thanked the old woman for letting him sleep at his house. You mustn't thank me, said the old woman. I am the one who has to thank you, for now I know to make some stone soup, and I will never go hungry again. So you come and see me one day, and I'll make you a delicious stone soup. Yes, said the tramp as he walked away. It is good to know how to make stone soup, but don't forget to put some onions, a little beef, 1 to 2 turnips, and barley, and a little milk stone. And then you will stir some salt, and you will have stones. You will have soup to fit for a king. Oh dear, look, the old woman's figured it out. It's not the stone that makes the beautiful soup. It's all the lovely ingredients. So, look at that cow eating the straw. That is definitely been my favourite story for years and years. I hope you enjoyed it too. Bye-bye now.